The afternoon sun was sinking behind the rows of old houses when 8-year-old Alina sprinted down the narrow street, her heartbeat pounding louder than her footsteps. Her small hands trembled, her breath broke in short gasps, and tears blurred her vision, but she kept running, fueled by fear so deep it drowned every other thought. She had never run this fast in her life. She had never felt this desperate. The only thing echoing in her mind was the last thing she saw before she fled the house, her mother collapsing to the floor, struggling for breath, while her mother's new partner shouted in drunken rage. Something inside Alina snapped, and without thinking, she bolted through the front door, searching for anyone who could help. She didn't know exactly where she was going, until she heard the unmistakable rumble of motorcycle engines gathering near the old auto shop at the end of the street. If you believe kindness, courage, and second chances still exist in this world, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. Your support keeps these heartfelt stories alive. The sound of the bikes was intimidating to some, but to Alina it felt like a lifeline. The bikers of that neighborhood had a reputation. Big, loud, tough-looking men with leather jackets and tattoos. The kind people warned you to stay away from. But Alina had seen something different. She had seen them help stray dogs, push broken cars for strangers, and bring groceries to an elderly woman who lived alone. She didn't know their names, but she knew one thing: they helped people, and today, her mother needed help more than ever. As she approached the auto shop yard, the bikers were preparing for an evening ride. Their engines were still warm, their laughter echoed off the metal walls, and the smell of gasoline lingered in the air. They didn't notice the small girl at first, not until Alina's trembling voice finally broke through her fear and spilled out into the open space, raw and desperate. She didn't speak in full sentences, her panic didn't let her. She only begged for help, pointing in the direction of her home with a shaking hand. The laughter stopped instantly, replaced by silence so heavy it felt like the air itself froze. The group's leader, a tall man everyone called Bear because of his size and gentle nature, immediately stepped forward. He knelt down to Alina's level, his face serious yet soft, and placed a hand on her shoulder to steady her. He didn't ask unnecessary questions. Her tears told him enough. Without a moment of hesitation, he looked back at his crew, and every man there understood what needed to be done. Engines roared to life again, not for a ride this time, but for a mission. As they raced toward Alina's house, she sat behind Bear on his bike, clinging to him with tiny hands. The streets blurred as they sped through the neighborhood, and each second felt like an eternity. Alina kept her eyes fixed on the road, praying silently that her mother would still be alive when they reached home. Fear clawed at her chest, but behind that fear was a small flicker of hope, because for the first time she wasn't alone. When they reached Alina's house, the front door was half open, hanging crookedly on its hinges. The scene inside was chaos. The bikers didn't need to force their way in. They simply walked with purpose. The man inside, drunk and furious, turned when he heard the heavy footsteps. But the second he saw the group standing in the doorway, his expression darkened with fear. He tried to speak, tried to act tough, but it was too late. He knew he was outnumbered and outmatched. The bikers didn't lay a single hand on him. They didn't need to. Their presence alone was enough to defuse the danger. With Bear calmly but firmly guiding him out, the man stumbled away, muttering under his breath, never daring to look back. While this happened, Alina ran straight to her mother, who lay on the floor, barely conscious but breathing. The relief that washed over her was overwhelming. She knelt beside her mother, holding her hand tightly, whispering that everything was going to be okay now. The bikers immediately called an ambulance, checked the house to ensure everything was safe, and waited with them until the paramedics arrived. They stayed outside on the porch, forming a silent shield of protection. When the ambulance took her mother away, Alina refused to let go of her hand until they reached the hospital. The bikers followed behind, their motorcycles lined up like a convoy escorting someone precious. At the hospital, the doctors explained that Alina's mother would recover. She was weak, shaken, and bruised, but she would survive. The moment those words were spoken, Elena breathed fully for the first time since she had run out of the house. She felt a weight lift off her small shoulders, a weight no child should ever have to carry. Bear and the bikers stayed in the waiting area until the early hours of the morning. They didn't know the family personally, but it didn't matter. They were there because someone needed help, and helping was enough. When the doctor finally allowed visitors, Elena went inside first. Her mother, though tired and emotional, smiled the moment she saw her daughter. It was a fragile smile, but it carried more strength than anything Elena had ever known. She hugged her mother tightly, feeling her warmth, her heartbeat, and the promise that they would face everything together. The bikers waited outside the room until Elena came out again. She stood before them, a small figure with big eyes full of gratitude. She didn't know how to thank them, but Bear knelt down once more and wiped the tears from her cheeks. He told her something she would remember forever, that bravery comes in many forms. Sometimes it's in standing up, sometimes it's in speaking out. But the bravest thing she had done was running for help when she felt helpless. She didn't save her mother alone, but without her courage, none of it would have happened. Weeks passed, and things slowly changed for Elena and her mother. They received support from organizations, neighbors, and eventually found a safer place to live. The bikers checked on them often, not because they felt obligated, but because they had grown attached to the little girl who ran to them in desperation and ended up reminding them of the importance of community. She brought them cookies once, made by her mother's trembling but healing hands, and they treated the small gesture as if it were a feast. Over time, Elena's mother regained her strength, and their home became filled with laughter again. The darkness that once overshadowed their lives gradually faded, replaced by new beginnings and a sense of safety they had almost forgotten was possible. And through it all, the bond between Elena and the bikers remained, a bond built not on fear or violence, but on compassion, courage, and the unexpected heroism of ordinary people. If this story touched your heart, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Your engagement helps these emotional stories reach more people. Before we end, kindly comment below and tell us which moment of the story moved you the most.